Sometimes it's the smallest things, isn't it? The smallest tweaks that lead to, well, really big surprises.
Right.
Like Harold, this 68-year-old retired engineer, he wasn't feeling great, the usual stuff, aches, fatigue.
Hmm.
But he started this incredibly simple 5-minute routine every morning. And get this, his doctor was just, well, astonished.
Astonished. How so?
His blood pressure, his cholesterol, even his EKG readings, they all improved significantly.
Wow. That really shows how interconnected everything in our body is, doesn't it?
It does.
And the key thing, I think, is understanding that these actions, they seem minor, right? But they can kick off this powerful chain reaction, positive changes.
Yeah.
So our goal today really is to unpack Harold's 5-minute system. We want to get into the science behind each step,
Right.
show how these quick habits can give you real health benefits, and probably most importantly, show you how you can easily weave them into your own life.
Exactly. So we're doing a deep dive into the 4 kind of cornerstones of his routine. There's a very specific way to hydrate, a quick movement sequence for circulation,
Got it.
a smart dietary tweak for muscle health, and then some exercises for like flexible joints and keeping your mind sharp.
A really well-rounded approach in just 5 minutes.
Totally. Okay, let's start with that first one, the crucial step. That first glass of water in the morning.
Yeah, it sounds so basic. Hydrate when you wake up. But the surprising part, maybe, is how you hydrate first thing. That can really change the impact.
How so?
Well, after, 6, maybe 8 hours of sleep, we're all naturally a bit dehydrated.
Makes sense.
And interestingly, Dr. William Harris points out, we lose almost half a liter of water just breathing and sweating overnight.
Half a liter. Wow, that's actually quite a lot.
It is. And we often don't even feel thirsty yet.
So, okay, besides maybe feeling a bit groggy or dry-mouthed, what are the hidden consequences of being dehydrated first thing?
Well, if you think about it, this lack of fluid means your blood volume actually decreases a bit,
Okay.
which makes your blood thicker, more viscous.
Right.
And here's the key insight. Research from places like Harvard and the Cleveland Clinic really highlights this, that thicker blood makes your heart work significantly harder.
Ah, okay.
It has to struggle more to pump it around.
Uh-huh.
And that's a big reason why, statistically, things like strokes and heart attacks are more common in those first hour or two after waking up.
That's pretty sobering, especially for older people.
Exactly. That risk goes up quite a bit for individuals over 65.
Okay, so this leads me to think some of the things we normally reach for first thing, like coffee or maybe ice water, and they might not be helping.
That's a really crucial point about our habits. A lot of people grab ice-cold water thinking it's refreshing.
Yeah, seems logical.
But the science suggests cold water can actually cause your blood vessels to constrict, to tighten up,
Oh.
which kind of hinders blood flow right when your body needs it to improve.
Okay, so that's not ideal. What about coffee or tea?
Well, coffee and tea lovers,
Mm.
look, they do have water, obviously, but they don't give you that immediate direct rehydration at the cellular level that plain water does first thing.
Right.
Plus, they can have diuretic effects, meaning they might even make you lose a bit more fluid. And just waiting, delaying, drinking any water just prolongs that dehydrated state and the strain on your heart.
Okay, so what is the best way then? The science-backed strategy for morning hydration.
Right. The recommendation, based on how our bodies work best, is about 480 milliliters. That's roughly 16 ounces or, 2 standard glasses.
Okay.
And crucially, room temperature water. Immediately upon waking.
Immediately, like before anything else.
Before anything. Before coffee, before tea, before brushing your teeth even. First thing.
And room temperature specifically. Why not cold? I mean, besides the constriction thing.
Yeah, it's interesting how temperature matters. Room temperature water is just absorbed more easily by your body. There's no, thermal shock.
Uh-huh.
And importantly, it actually promotes vasodilation.
Vasodilation.
Yeah, the widening of your blood vessels. So it reduces the resistance your heart is pumping against.
Ah, I see.
It means better oxygen and nutrient delivery all through your body, especially to your brain, right when it's waking up.
And cold water does the opposite. Tightens things up.
Exactly. Cold water can cause vasoconstriction, that narrowing. It can temporarily slow circulation, maybe even bump up blood pressure slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you want when your body's already dealing with that potential dehydration thickness and needs better flow.
Got it. Now, you mentioned something earlier, or it was in the next, adding lemon. Is there something to that?
Yeah, that's a nice little potential boost. A bit of fresh lemon juice, maybe from a quarter of a lemon.
Okay.
It adds some electrolytes like potassium, which is important for fluid balance, nerve signals, muscle contractions.
Hmm.
Plus, you get vitamin C, which is a good antioxidant, helps your immune system, and it's needed for collagen that keeps blood vessels elastic.
Ah, interesting.
And there's even some early research suggesting it might help uh, soften arteries, regulate blood pressure a bit, maybe have some mild anti-inflammatory effects.
Yep.
Optional, but potentially beneficial.
So the timing really is the absolute key here, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. That water needs to be the very first thing you consume within the first minute or so of waking up.
Wow, okay.
Like I said, before brushing teeth, before coffee, tea, food. It ensures that super rapid absorption and immediate effect. If you delay, you just lessen those initial benefits.
Right.
So the takeaway,
Right.
room temperature water, maybe with that lemon, is just way more effective first thing than cold water because it helps your blood vessels relax and supports your whole cardiovascular system as you get going.
Okay, great start. Hydration sorted. What's next in Harold's 5-minute power routine,
Good.
getting the body moving right?
Yes, exactly. And this next bit is all about tackling that circulatory sluggishness we often have when we first get up.
Circulatory sluggishness.
Yeah, think about it. While you sleep, you're not moving much. So blood tends to pool a bit in your lower legs and feet.
Right, gravity.
Exactly. Then you stand up, and suddenly there's a bit less blood volume momentarily in your upper body and brain. That can cause that lightheaded feeling some people get.
Oh, okay. I felt that.
And research, Johns Hopkins looked into this, shows that this uneven blood flow can mean not quite enough oxygen gets to the brain right away. This actually increases stroke risk, especially for older adults.
That is concerning. Okay, so what's the quick fix? The 60-second stroke shield idea.
That's it. And it's incredibly simple, recommended by Dr. Eleanor Thomas, just 60 seconds.
Okay, what do you do?
You stand tall, feet about shoulder width apart. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose while you raise both arms slowly up overhead.
Okay,
Then a slow, complete exhale through your mouth as you lower your arms back down.
got it.
Then a few shoulder rolls, maybe 3 to 5 backward, then 3 to 5 forward.
Simple enough.
And finally, some heel raises. Slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, hold it just for a second, and lower back down. Repeat that maybe 8 to 10 times.
And that's it. 1 minute.
That's it.
How does that short sequence act like a natural pump for the blood?
It's pretty clever, actually. When you do the heel raises, your calf muscles contract.
Right.
And when you move your arms and shoulders, your upper body and core muscles engage. These rhythmic muscle contractions gently squeeze the veins. And that helps push that pooled blood from your legs back up towards your heart.
Okay, so it gets recirculated properly.
Exactly. It gets reoxygenated and then sent efficiently to your brain. It's a super quick way to feel more alert and reduce that strain on your heart.
And the impact is significant.
Dr. Thomas's research suggests it can boost blood flow to the brain by over 40%. That's a huge potential reduction in stroke risk for just 1 minute of effort.
That really is impressive. Wow. Okay, so we've done hydration, we've done the circulation boost. Harold's routine also focuses on muscle health early on. Why is that so important in the morning?
Yeah, this is another area where timing matters. If we look at our physiology, the National Institute on Aging notes that our bodies naturally tend to break down muscle tissue. It's called catabolism more actively in the early morning.
Really? Why that?
It's largely due to the overnight fast. Usually happens between about 3 a.m. and 8 a.m.
Oh.
And if we don't do anything to counteract that, especially as we get older, it can lead to, well, loss of strength, reduced mobility, slower metabolism, less energy,
Okay.
even a weaker immune system, and a higher risk of falls.
So it's quite significant then. What's the counter strategy, the 30-minute muscle miracle?
The key intervention here is dietary. It's about getting 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein into your system within the first 30 minutes of getting out of bed.
25 to 30 grams within 30 minutes. That's specific. Is there strong evidence for this?
There is. Research by Dr. Rebecca Fleming is particularly interesting. It showed up to 64% less muscle loss over 5 years in seniors who consistently got that amount of protein in that time frame.
64%. That's huge. Why is that first half-hour window so critical for protein?
It goes back to that catabolic state. After fasting all night, your body is primed for muscle breakdown.
Right.
Eating protein right then helps flip the switch, basically.
Yeah.
It shifts your body towards an anabolic state that's building, or at least preserving muscle. It gives your muscles the amino acids, the building blocks they need, right when they're most ready to use them after that overnight period.
Makes sense. What are some quick, easy ways to get that 25, 30 grams of protein in so fast?
Good question. Speed is key here. A whey protein shake is great because it digests very quickly.
Okay.
Or Maybe 2 or 3 cooked egg whites. They're packed with leucine, a really important amino acid for muscles.
Egg whites. Got it.
Or even just a serving of plain Greek yogurt that gives you a mix of fast and slower digesting proteins. All good options to hit that target quickly.
Great practical tips. Okay, so we've covered hydration, circulation, and muscle preservation. What about the final pieces? Ageless joints and a sharper mind. Let's start with the joints. Morning stiffness is so common.
It really is, especially as we age. And the Mayo Clinic has a good explanation for it.
Yeah.
During inactivity, like when we're sleeping, the synovial fluid in our joints, that's the stuff that cushions and lubricates them, it tends to thicken up. Think of it like honey getting cold. It becomes less fluid.
Okay, I can picture that.
And that thickening causes more friction when you start moving, leading to that stiffness and reduced flexibility we feel.
And it's not just uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
There are actual risks if we ignore it.
Exactly. The Mayo Clinic points out it's not just annoying. Over time, that stiffness can contribute to wear and tear injuries. It could even be a factor in developing chronic things like arthritis. Plus, stiff joints increase your risk of strains, sprains, and, importantly, falls, especially if you're over 65.
Okay, definitely worth addressing then. What's the 90-second mobility sequence that helps?
This one comes from Dr. Angela MacArthur. It's a gentle 90-second routine.
Okay, what does it involve?
It includes things like ankle rotations, maybe 10 clockwise, 10 counterclockwise on each foot. Gentle knee circles, keeping your knees slightly bent, 10 each way. Some easy side bends for the torso, maybe 5 each side.
Right.
Gentle torso rotations, twisting your upper body side to side. And then some slow backward shoulder rolls, shrug up, roll back and down, 5 or 10 times.
Seems very gentle. How does this help the joints so quickly?
The key is stimulating that synovial fluid. These movements encourage it to produce and flow better, essentially re-lubricating the joints and easing the stiffness.
Warming up the honey, so to speak.
Exactly. And it also gently warms up the muscles around the joints, improves blood flow, increases your range of motion.
Any other benefits?
Yes, it also engages the small stabilizing muscles around the joints. That helps with balance and coordination, which directly lowers the risk of falls. It's often really good for people with existing back, knees, or spine issues too.
Okay, fantastic. Now, the final piece, the sharper mind. The idea of a morning golden window for the brain is fascinating. What's going on there?
Yeah, the Brain Longevity Center at Stanford talks about this. That first 30 minutes or so after waking seems to be a time when our brains are particularly receptive
Receptive to what?
to cognitive stimulation. Doing mental exercises during this window can actually boost something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF.
BDNF.
Think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps support the growth of new neurons and strengthens the connections between them. Absolutely vital for learning and memory.
So our brain is more plastic, more adaptable in the morning.
That seems to be the case, yeah. Heightened neuroplasticity.
And how does tapping into this help with worries about memory loss or dementia as we age?
Well, from a long-term view, being proactive with brain exercises, especially during this receptive time, can really help maintain cognitive vitality.
How?
It strengthens those existing neural pathways and helps build new ones. You're essentially building up your cognitive reserve.
Cognitive reserve.
Yeah, it's like a buffer. It might help delay or lessen the impact of age-related cognitive decline.
Okay, so what's the specific mental exercise in Harold's routine?
It sounds simple, but it's quite powerful. You mentally recall the events of the previous day, but in reverse chronological order.
Reverse order. How does that work?
You start with, say, dinner last night. Then you think, okay, what was I doing right before dinner? Then maybe lunch. Then late morning breakfast.
Yeah.
All the way back to when you first woke up yesterday.
Huh.
And the trick is to try and remember specific details for each part of the day.
Why is going backwards so effective?
It's a great question about memory. Recalling things in reverse really challenges your short-term memory. It forces your brain to work on sequencing, paying attention, and retrieving information in a way it doesn't normally do. It's a novel task.
I can see how that would be a workout for the brain.
It really is.
Yeah.
And regular practice of this kind of exercise has been linked to maintaining cognitive function at levels similar to people who are 10, even 20 years younger. And there's good reason to believe it might help delay or prevent dementia by keeping the brain active and stimulated. Studies focusing on seniors engaging in these types of mental exercises often show measurable improvements.
So putting it all together, this whole 5-minute system, the water, the movement, the protein, the joint mobility, the brain exercise, that's what led to Harold's amazing turnaround in just 6 months.
That's the power of the cumulative effect, absolutely. These seemingly small, consistent actions, grounded in science, all working together.
It really shows what's possible.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Harold's story is just a fantastic example of how simple, informed steps can make a really profound difference to your health and just how you feel every day.
Yeah.
And this routine, it's not just about, maybe adding years to your life. It's really about adding life to your years, isn't it? Boosting that daily energy, that mental sharpness.
That's a great way to put it. So, okay, for you listening right now, here's a challenge from us. Why not try it? Commit to doing this 5-minute routine every morning for the next 30 days. Just see what happens, see how you feel.
I think the potential for transformation is really significant. And we'd genuinely love to hear about it. If you do try it, share your experiences, any results you notice, maybe in the comment section, wherever you're listening.
Yeah, definitely. Let's build a community around this. Share the journey.
It could be really inspiring.
Absolutely. Because the power to change your mornings and maybe your whole health trajectory, it's really right there within your reach. Starting tomorrow.
Well said.
Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us today.
My pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring.